Hey, good evening. It's Wednesday evening, July 15th. I want to read to you tonight a little portion tonight about what I read from you this morning of the novel Moby Dick. I read it in my 30s, a long time ago. But the book had a tremendous impact on me because Melville, he wrote this thing by the time he was 30, which is an amazing thing in itself. But Melville's life was like mine. He grew up in a conservative Christian home. He knew the Bible. If you read Moby Dick, you see the Bible's themes all through it. You can't even understand the thing if you don't understand the Bible's characters. It's about the challenge, the struggle that we all have with the sovereignty of God. So Ahab is struggling against the sovereignty of God in the character of Moby Dick. You won't read that in very many reviews, but that's exactly what's going on. And here's Melville, a man raised in a good home, knew his Bible, and yet turned away from it, and was an agnostic. Maybe he died that way, I don't know. But the amazing thing was that he writes about relationship and about how the church had failed. New England Calvinism, the Puritanism, the beauty of what had been had become formal and dry. And Hawthorne and Melville spoke against that in eloquent, powerful terms. And that's what caught my attention, because I felt some of that cynicism growing in me as a young man, being disappointed in the church. And I didn't want my children to be that way. I was already having children at this point. I didn't want that for my children. I remember having discussions with my wife Ruth about the impact of this book and the danger of getting too comfortable with our Christianity. And Melville speaks of us losing the beauty, the idea of the beauty of man made in the image of God. Melville lost a little bit of the vision, but he still sees the beauty of that. And we would do well to embrace that amazing quality of man as a creature and the dignity of man as a creature, and be stricken with grief at our fallenness. But part of the reason the fallenness is so horrid is because of what it fell from. So we see this chapter talking about Starbuck. Starbuck is the noble character in Moby Dick, at least in my opinion. He's the first mate. He's the man who has consistency, who is faithful in his job, and he remains that way. He's the one Ahab relied on, and he remained to be a man of principle and character. And that's why he catches Melville's attention. So he says this about Starbuck early on in the novel, once he figures out what a cool guy Starbuck is. But were the coming narrative to reveal in any instance the complete debasement of poor Starbuck's fortitude, scarce might I have the heart to write it. But it is the thing most sorrowful, nay shocking, to expose the fall of the valor of the soul. Men may seem detestable as joint stock companies and nations. Knaves, fools, and murderers they may be. Men may have mean and meager faces, but man, in the ideal, is so noble, so sparkling, so grand and glowing creature, that over any ignominious blemish in him, all his fellows should run to throw over him their costliest robes. This idea of protecting us, anything in flaws, we should run together and protect it. We don't do that. Rather, the news cycle does exactly the opposite. It delights in our error and our fallenness. Melville goes on to say that immaculate manliness we feel within ourselves, so far within us that it remains intact, even though our other characters seem gone, bleeds with keenest anguish at the undraped spectacle of a valor-ruined man. That phrase rocked my world and many more in this novel did. We need to honor the image of God in man and bring the gospel, because only that will heal that spectacle of a valor-ruined man. That's the thought for tonight. Thanks so much for being here. It's kind of a personal look into who I am. So Lord bless you. Bye-bye.